How's it going, everybody? Here is a guide pretty much on how to get the To the Death trophy, which is 100 wins in survival mode in pretty much solo player. Real quick before we dive into the full video, if you're here just to look at certain fights, I am going to put timestamps in this video for pretty much each 10 of the fights. So I'll have 70 to 80, 80 to 90, and then 90 to 100. So this way, if you're struggling on a particular part, you can go ahead, you could just fast forward to that specific fight. Now, for those of you that are watching, at least probably from the 70, maybe this is where you're struggling at or you haven't got to yet. The guide is pretty much going to be the same throughout the entire video. It's going to be the same strategy when you get to that pretty much very hard difficulty for the computer. Now, I used Akaza. That's what I used, and based on the power-ups that I have, or the gear that you guys can see, I chose skill power-up 3, which is pretty much Akaza's compass needle, and then I picked timely reversal, which is to help build your gauge, for surge and boost and all that when your health is below the CPUs. Now, if you've been playing this game mode, you're obviously aware your health does not reset after a win. You get a small little boost to your health, but that's really about it. Now, I chose to pick Akaza. Well, one, he's the most comfortable character that I'm with, but he's also a demon, so when you see that he boosts, you guys get some health back, which is big when you guys are trying to keep your health at the highest spot. You're gonna get hit from time to time. Going perfectly without getting hit it's not impossible, but there's very low chance that you go through the whole thing. And especially if you're watching this video, you're looking for the guide that's helping because your health is low. So having Akaza there, just because he has one of the biggest health regenerations, is really good. The timely reversal, since you're starting low, pretty much if you use just one boost the previous game, you'll basically get another one right away, as long as you can get pretty much the first hit of the game off, which, as you guys can see, every game I pretty much start off with a compass needle. They pretty much escape almost right away. You can get maybe like 2 more hits in after that. And what I normally try to do is I use Disorder. That's what it is. So usually, more often than not, wherever they escape, Disorder usually will go towards them a little bit. Sometimes it doesn't, and then you can jump out of the way from there, or you can just escape. But more often than not, you guys are kind of just going to see me spam compass needle, at least for my lead. But also, since that's my power up, I do try to have my combos involved with compass needle as much as possible. I think it also just gives the most damage more than anything, at least especially from when you're here. Obviously, when you're playing online, you can't just spam compass needle, because it's an unsafe attack if it's on block. But you're also going to want to use collapse a lot, which is his demon skill without the tilt. That is another one of the most damaging ones. Kind of doubling up on it really helps. You can still do the annihilation into collapse. It's kind of whatever you prefer. I kind of just go ahead and do a double collapse more often than not. Some of these characters you're struggling with, and I think it's easier just for you guys to see kind of how I'm playing them. But I think I got most of the guide aspect of it out, other than, as you can see, some of these heavies they go through, but as long as they run through and compass needle hits, you get priority, you get damage, and then you get priority to kind of spam it again. So that's a big thing that you guys want to keep note of. I know it gets a little scary when you get to these, because the higher you get, the more damage they do. Characters like Tanjiro, honestly Rengoku wasn't really a problem. Tengen is sometimes a problem. Shinobu, if you're not really confident with fast characters like that, Inosuke can kind of sometimes be a problem. That's just kind of things you have to look out for. Also, keep in mind, if you use compass needle on block, I think it was like 90% of the time, if they block it, they're going to automatically parry. So it's not like you're going to get damage dealt to you right after that. You're going to be able to kind of get out of it a little bit. So don't really be too worried about that. You have plenty of time. When you play other demons, Rui's not really that much of a problem. Maybe just because it's a weird style, but I never really had any problems with him. When you play Yahaba, when you play Susumaru, sometimes Gyokutaro and Daki a little bit, Zohakten a little, Enmu's not really a problem. But those characters, since they're have a lot more projectiles, well, not really Daki in them, but the other two, those ones you want to watch out for, and you just want to be patient. This is where you kind of want to use your air type, especially if you've been struggling with them prior. His dive kick is actually really good for some of them if you can get close. Nezuko is sometimes a problem now that I'm thinking about it. I had a better time going against Awakened version Nezuko just because she's more of a rush down character, so it's easier to just kind of throw out a compass needle when she gets into your zone. The other one is a little bit scarier just because of some of her moves, so you just gotta watch out. The heavies, just be careful, just because if you're not in a good spot, it's a lot of damage. But it's like, the more I think about it, compass needle is really going to be your saving grace. But when you're low on meter, you do want to try and just provide a little bit of pressure if you can. A lot of the times you'll see the CPU try to sidestep, and that's kind of like your key to be able to at least get almost a free combo there. I try to save my meter unless I absolutely really need to use it. As long as I have an escape, I usually will not have to use it. But a lot of the times, sometimes you just have to use it. If you guys aren't as comfortable, maybe dropping down your escapes or trading collapse and annihilation for like a safe bet until you get a boost, that's all right too. There was a few times that I did do that where I just waited until I could get a meter, and I would just try to dump all my skill moves, but I would keep pretty much my demon skills for when I needed them. When you get to about maybe 85 and up, it's a little different. This is probably the hardest Zenitsu I had to play, and this was the first time he's really given me trouble. For the most part, I've been able to kind of just be there, and as you can see, I did a compass needle and then he parries. So you have time to move, time to hold block. You just got to be mindful of sometimes of these supports. Actually, now that I'm thinking about, Gyome is a big issue. He's very rushed down and his moves last a while. It's just something you got to be careful for. But use your air types when you're far away. It really helps. But as you can see here, I had him in escape, so I wasn't really too worried. But after that, I just compass needle, because at this point of the tower, pretty much, or the survival, they're pretty much trying to just rush down most of the time. Sometimes you want to be patient at the beginning because they'll just run around the meter, but they won't attack you. So it's just stuff you kind of have to look out for. Inosuke, he just does his heavy a lot of the time, or even his armored stuff. You just have to be careful because of the mechanics of this game. Is just, if you use annihilation type on his heavy, if it's charged up, you're gonna get blown back, which is stupid. I don't know what mechanic whose idea that was, but overall, compass needle is your best friend. I'm just gonna keep saying that. Compass needle is your best friend, pretty much. Even there, it was a little bit unsafe to use. I was able to block, luckily. But even here, push blocking, that's a really big method. If any of you are good with parrying, you could try it. But with the amount of health that you lose after one combo, I was not very confident to be able to just, throw out a parry, at least in this version of the game. So for the most part, they're not going to let go of block ever if you're pressuring like that. So if you really want to use your meter with air type and disorder to kind of just put stuff there, you can. Keep in mind, they will heavy. When sometimes you disorder, you can easily jump to the side and it's a free compass needle punish or a dash and punish. That's just stuff you guys have to look for. You just want to protect block for a little bit. Be mindful of that. Maybe the heavies is what you guys want to do for a parry, just because that's a little bit easier to time. But also just be mindful and be careful when you do that as well. We are getting towards the point to where this is where I started getting annoyed with some of the leaderboard. or the ladder, whatever you want to call it. 93, we're not there yet, but when we get there, it was Water Wheel Tanjiro and Uro Kodaki. I got there like 3 times, and I died to that same fight twice, and I did not want to go through the whole ladder, you know, just being stuck in that fight. So I'm going to show you guys one specific method now that's helped me throughout, you know, the ladder grind. So you could frown upon it, you could do whatever you want to it. You want the trophy or not? That's all I'm going to tell you. So a lot of the reason I've been able to get through, you know, some fights a little bit more cleaner than others, not all of them, some of them have been just clean, you know, just me playing, but there is always a few times there's a close call. So I'm glad they put this in the game. I just tested it out one stream and I found out it works. If you pause the game, which it lets you mid combo, whatever you are at in terms of the game, in terms of health, in terms of skill gauge, boost, even the CPU, if they've used their escape and all that, it will stay whatever it was at when you save the game. When you reload, you will go back to as if it was the beginning of the match, and they start out the same exact way as if it just restarted, given that they have some skill meter. So that's just something you have to keep in mind. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about specifically with Yahaba, just because he's one of those characters you might need to use it on just because of his moves, and he literally meter dumps everything. And for those of you that know, he does a lot of damage, and when you get to these levels, the grab damage is ridiculous. It's almost like 30%, maybe even more. So anytime you get grabbed right away, I would just save, quit the game pretty much, just so you keep the health you're at. It's like the grab didn't happen besides a little bit. So right there, I'll show you guys exactly how it works. So as you can see, we quit the game. It takes you back right to the main screen. As you guys can see, my record's 93. Like I told you, that Tanjiro was really giving me a lot of trouble. So from this point, it reset pretty much the match, and I was able to just kind of get by what he had. If you were able to see, he didn't have Susumaru as a help, no reset for an escape. So that's pretty much how it works. That method alone will get you higher and higher throughout, because then you can also just kind of boost right away. Sometimes you do have to be careful. You will get caught in some type of things, and then you're free to kind of just carry on with the rest of the matches. Now the next two, which was Giyu as a lead and Rengoku, they're not really too difficult. Giyu is a little bit difficult just because of Water Wheel, and that's really just the biggest issue that I have with him. He really doesn't dead calm all that much, but his main rush down is, you know, Water Wheel. Same with Rengoku, his is Blazing Universe, but it's a lot easier to kind of just set up your compass needle on Wake Up and then go ahead and do that. You can see we're moving to Inosuke. He's going to do the blower rush a lot. You could be patient. It's not like it breaks your guard. So if you hold the guard and just make sure he's done, then you'll get a free pretty much punish relatively. His grab is fast. Luckily for me, he wasn't doing it. But again, I was able to kind of get through. I got unlucky right there that he curved last second on his heavy, and then that didn't break my guard. But you can see here, I just push block, waiting for the rush down, and I just compass needle. So I had just enough meter to be able to finish right there. Now we're moving to Akaza, which is the 99th fight technically, which I assumed he had to be here somewhere. He really wasn't that difficult like I was expecting it. I was expecting him to be super rush down, disorder, and all that, and it could really be a pain. But like I said, if you lead with compass needle, then you should be fine. After this is Yushiro, and this is pretty much your final fight. He's always going to call Tamayo. It's safer if you just compass needle block. Same thing here. Like whichever one he moves, you get that free compass needle and you block just to make sure she's gone, and then you do it again and then you finish. Right? So main tips, main takeaways for you guys is just to use a lot of compass needle and save and quit when necessary. I should have probably mentioned that in the beginning. I kind of forgot about it just a little bit. But here is the trophy for you guys to see. Now, if you guys have any more questions, feel free to leave comments below. I believe I will put a I did put a timestamp at least to the actual method that you guys want, as opposed just to looking at it all the way through. But overall, I hope this guide helps you. If there's anything I missed, I will let you guys know in the comments. So just make sure that you guys leave a comment on what you guys need help with specifically, or who's giving you the most trouble. And I can also kind of dive into that a little bit with you guys. I appreciate all, the comments and support I got on the Trials Prevailed trophy. So if this is something that you guys want to keep seeing, where it's either trophy guides or other things like that, please do let me know. A lot of the times I am just doing ranked gameplay just because that's what I'm doing. Same with Yu-Gi-Oh! I've just been playing some of the ranked and I haven't uploaded much of the solo. I've been streaming that more than anything. I'm trying to dive back into the streaming, so just, leave some comments and feedback on what you guys are interested to see and what you guys need help on. And I'll see you guys in the next video.